What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of Fantastic Five. This week, we're counting down the 5 worst costume redesigns from the decade that brought us hanging with Mr. Cooper. The 1990s were a decade where anything could happen in comics, as long as it made things radder, badder, and extremer. Rub the blood. This was the decade that saw both the super mullet and the electric blue boogaloo in an attempt to make Superman feel more modern. Dozens of costumes saw the addition of pouches, chains, guns, pouches, trench coats, unnecessary armor, and more pouches, to what had previously been sleek and iconic designs. Excess. So 90s. Anyway, on to the list. Number 5, Pirate Wolverine. In the 1993 storyline Fatal Attractions, Magneto uses his powers to forcibly remove all of the adamantium from Wolverine's skeleton. Shortly after this, Wolverine learns that his claws were not, as he believed, additional weapons but part of his actual skeleton, and he has bone claws for a surprisingly long time. However, Cable's son tries to give Wolverine his adamantium back, which goes horribly wrong and turns Wolverine into a non-verbal caveman with no nose. He spent longer than we'd like to think about running around on his knuckles with no sleeves and a bandana over his face. Number 4, Biker Wonder Woman. 1994 storyline The Contest saw Wonder Woman's mother, the Queen of the Amazons, starting to receive visions that her daughter would die. As a result, to protect Diana, she said that she was no longer worthy to be Wonder Woman, and she held a contest to see who would be the new hero of Paradise Island. That role fell to Artemis, an Amazon with 20-foot-long red hair who was considerably more violent than her predecessor. Diana, however, continued to fight crime, but now dressed in a jean jacket, black bicycle shorts, and whatever the heck that top is. Number 3, Guy Gardner Warrior. Guy Gardner is a character who debuted in the 1960s and became popular in the 1980s as a member of the Green Lantern Corps and the Justice League. He has to give up being a Green Lantern in 1992, however, and for a while uses Sinestro's yellow ring as his weapon. When this ring is destroyed, Gardner goes to the rainforest and drinks a goblet full of warrior water, which is the thing's actual name and not a cute nickname I'm giving it. Of course, this unlocks alien DNA buried deep within his bloodline that gives him new shape-shifting abilities. Yes, that's right, he can use any shape he wants, and he decides to look like this. Number 2, Invisible Woman. As male superheroes were adding more and more to their costumes, more jackets, more shoulder pads, more ponytails, female superheroes found their costumes getting smaller and smaller, often with ridiculous die cuts that are actually impossible by our human universe's rules of physics. Perhaps the worst offender here is this costume that the Invisible Woman, Sue Storm, actually wore in the 90s, with its belly window, thigh windows, shoulder windows, and of course the 4-shaped boob window. The costume itself is what it is, and honestly is not that much different from what many other female heroes were forced to endure in this decade. What makes this one particularly egregious is the way that it clashes with Sue's character, the supermom of the Marvel Universe. Imagine your mom dressed like this. You're welcome. And number 1, Armor Thor. One of the most virulent scourges of the extreme decade was that of the armored costume. Everyone was doing it, even if it was only for an issue or two. Spider-Man, Superman, Hawkeye, Catwoman, Captain America, Uncle Sam, Batman, Daredevil, Booster Gold. Look, I could go on and on. Perhaps the strangest of these, however, is the example of Thor. Prior to this, Thor had been running around shirtless for a while, when suddenly, out of nowhere and with no explanation, in the last issue of his series before it would disappear for a while thanks to Heroes Reborn, Thor shows up wearing this number, with its shoulder pads, shoulder spikes, head sock, wrist straps, thigh straps, metal belt, belly shirt, and his hammer attached by a wallet chain. Fortunately, this costume only appeared in one issue of Thor's own series, and a few appearances in other books. The bad news is, it was immortalized as the costume Thor was wearing in the hugely popular intercompany crossover, Marvel vs. DC. That's all for this week. Join us again next week for 5 things read backwards. Thanks for watching this episode of Fantastic Fives. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Comics Alliance for more comic facts, and check out comicsalliance.com for more comic awesomeness.